Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is a screencast-o-matic presentation and recording that was meant to serve as a helpful tool for the last part of the lesson for Unit 6, Lesson 8 on the Mongol Empire. Before we get started, please let me encourage you to open up to the Kami doc for this part of today's lesson and to get ready to fill in the locations and features on the map as they coincide with this presentation. This presentation will essentially be shot in sections, so we're going to start off with going piece by piece to the key and then coloring, labeling, designating accordingly. So remember, you can pause or replay any part of this presentation for detailed clarity or repetition. But what we will do first here is just to explain to you what we're essentially aiming for. This is the Mongol Empire by the year AD 1294. So we're just going to go step by step because I'm sure at first this looks a little overwhelming, but we will break it down nice and easy for you. So the original directions look like this. And once again, we are to label each location here on the map, and then of course show these following features on our map, with the exception of the route of Marco Polo. That caveat was there for the directions that we don't have to do that. And then of course label the 4 great Khanites that are here. So let's go ahead and get started, and then we should be good to progress even further. Let's talk about continents and countries here first. Let's go ahead back to the map. And let's go ahead and label some of these places. So we will be referencing our key here, but let's go ahead and start labeling on our own Kami docs. So using the text box icon over here, we can start off by labeling. I believe Europe is over here first, so we can go ahead and do that and put Europe in here. And once again, I just like to make things the same color for the same features, but you can switch things up however you so choose. So let's go ahead and think about some of these other places. Next we have Arabia, which refers to the Arabian Peninsula. So that's right there. And then we have India, which is right down here. So let's go ahead and label that accordingly. Followed by Japan, which is over here. And then we have Korea, which is right here. We have North and South Korea. Okay, and we have China. Of course, that's right here. Oh, we have Vietnam as well, which is down here. All right, and once again, that helps us, in a sense, understand and designate these key places here accordingly. So that's kind of nice that we have those places designated right now. I just like to create circles here that coincide with the font. You're welcome to label the key and the map however you so choose, but hopefully you'll find this to be helpful later when it comes to deciphering the different locations. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the other sections here, and we should be good to continue forth with the map. Okay, so next we're going to move on to bodies of water. Okay, so as you can see, we have bodies of water to label. Here they are. So as depicted here on this screen, and also on your key, we have a series of seas and water formations and oceans. So let's go ahead and get started with that in order right now. So going back to the map here, we have the Caspian Sea. Caspian Sea, I believe, is located right here. So we're going to take a text box and label it as such. There we go. Then we have the Mediterranean Sea, which I know might look a little bit weird because the map is altered. Mediterranean Sea. Followed by the Black Sea, which is actually close by. Followed by the Red Sea, which is over here. Some of these places you might know already and be familiar with because of the previous unit. Persian Gulf. Okay. The Indian Ocean. Right down here. And then the Pacific Ocean, which is, of course, over here. All right, let's go ahead and designate those with some corresponding features. So we use drawing tool, blue. Maybe that helps out a little bit. So once again, we're just designating these areas here so that we can coincide a key with this. And that's fine. Remember, in a sense, I'm not so focused or fixated when I grade these about, perfection, but, general ballpark range for geographic locations would be ideal. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to specific locations next. Okay, so in terms of locations or specific locations, I believe back here we have the following to label. So let's just go ahead and order and do that right now. So let's exit out of this and go back to the map. And here we are. So I believe first is Beijing, which is in China. So let me change that color here for a second, and then we should be good. All right, Beijing. Maybe this will change color, maybe not. And we can always make that green. That actually looks good too. Okay, next we have Constantinople, which should be over here, about between Europe and Asia. So let me try my best to find that there. Maybe move that over here. Followed by Baghdad. Baghdad is down here. Followed by Venice, which is in Italy. Followed by Karakorum. Which should be, if I'm not mistaken, up here. Followed by Kiev. Kiev is up here, and Moscow is over there. Of course, we have Russia, big land formation up here. Tibet is over here on the exterior of China. And let's end there to designate these with corresponding colors and features. So maybe I'll try to choose green or some other type of color here. We'll see what we can do. Okay. So let's use a different color. Maybe gold, that'll be nice. And we just have to essentially designate these areas with different shapes or colors. Let's maybe use a triangle. So Constantinople, there's Venice, there's Kiev, there's Moscow, there's Russia, Karakorum, Tibet, Baghdad, Beijing, right there. So far, so good. This is pretty much what we have. Let's move on to the next part here accordingly. So on the next part here, we do have the Silk Road, the Great Wall, and invasions of Japan. So let's go ahead and do that right now for the map. And the Silk Road essentially takes on the following formation. So let's go back to the key here and try to mimic that the best we can. It is depicted by the red line here that expands across Asia, uniting east from west. And then we have the Great Wall right here, and then invasions from Japan over here onto the Korean Peninsula. So let's try our best to do this. And just to be clear, these are the invasions of Japan coming from the Mongols to Japan, just to be very clear about that. So let's go ahead and start maybe with the drawing tool up here with the text box. I'll pick a different color again. Maybe I'll label this as Silk Road. I'll label this as Great Wall. And of course we have invasions. So showing this from the arrows and from what we have, once again, our goal here is just to take a pretty great close, proximal line for what we see. As long as you guys can understand the dynamics of what we're essentially shooting for, that is great. Going back to here to depict the Great Wall, that's pretty much what we got. So let's go ahead and do that. Once again, as long as we depict these things on our key, we should be okay. And then the invasions we can mark here by little lines. Okay. So believe it or not, that actually looks pretty good for what we need. And then I believe in our directions, it says that we have to label the 4 Canaanites, which are here and here, and designate them accordingly. So let's try to go ahead and depict something similar to this. And we can use the outline tool here for this. We don't have to color in everything, but hopefully that'll help us in this way. So let's start with the Cainite of the Great Khan over here. And once again, as long as we get a close proximal area, that would be just so ideal. But let's see what we can do. So we have that over, down. How far down, I guess, is the question, right? Just a little bit farther. There we go. There's the first one. Let's do the one in the middle, the Chagatai Khanite. Maybe we can choose a red. And let's see what we can do there. Okay. Alrighty. Khanite of the Golden Horde is going to be up here. Maybe I can put that in a different color, maybe like a nice little, a darker blue actually I think would be better. So let me go up here to the exterior of the Empire up north. Maybe I can color that in. I think that would be a good idea. Okay. And then we have down here, the Alkanite, Persia. Okay, let me go ahead and label that. Maybe I can use a black. And we can use this right here. Actually, I think it goes outside the Arabian Peninsula, so we're still good. Okay. So, there we are. Now, going back to our directions here just to make sure that we're good. It looks great, actually. So we have everything that coincides to a particular point on the key, and that also creates our key as well. So I feel great about what we have, and this should help you out tremendously too. Remember, I don't care how perfect you want to be here with coloring in and labeling, but I think you guys got the general gist here. So great job. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found this to be an incredible help. Message me directly if you have any questions from now until submission time. Have a great rest of your weekend.